Open your mind.
Hey out there, this is Buzz with TheSurvivalBuzz. I got to be indoors today to shoot this video. Normally I do them outside, and I know the audio quality probably isn't great in here, but it's got to be better than what's going on out there. The winds are just insane. So the video I'm shooting today is going to be kind of a part two to yesterday's video, the Prepper Talk, where I talked a little bit about the war in Israel. And in that video I mentioned sleeper cells within the United States. And I want to start off this video by saying, for all the naysayers out there, I'm not on here trying to fearmonger. I'm not on here saying we're in a Red Dawn situation at the moment. But the reality of it is the sleeper cells and maybe the people within this country, within the United States, that don't necessarily have our best interests at hand, the possibility of them attacking or doing something crazy is becoming more and more of a reality every day. So I'm simply on here trying to make people aware, maybe some people that aren't quite aware of what's going on in the world right now. It's going to be a pretty scary place. So I want to start off by reading part of this article out of Zero Hedge that I read today. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's very, very lengthy. But I'm going to read what I figure are the most important parts of this article, and then kind of let you guys, if you're more interested in it, you can go online, go to Zero Hedge. It's one of the first few articles that pop up. So this one is called Hamas Leader Calls for Global Muslim Uprising in Day of Rage on Friday, reports say. And that's this coming Friday. Today's Wednesday. So I guess a former Muslim, now a follower of Christ, has been the first to share the contents of the Marshall speech. He outlined in key points. So here we go. To show anger, especially next Friday in Muslim countries and among Muslim dysphoria around the world, he called it Friday Al-Aqsa Flood. And I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing this right, but that's the first part of it. The second part of the speech, he pointed out, he asked for financial help from all Muslims around the world to help with their money. He called it financial jihad. He asked Muslims to give to the fighters of Gaza in order to compensate them for the destruction that they're creating. And on the case point 3, he asked political pressure from Muslim leaders and Muslim nations to stop Israel's military invasion of Gaza. And last but not least, the most important thing, he asked all Muslims around the world to carry out jihad by their souls to fight and be martyrs for Al-Aqsa. He wants Muslims to fight against the Jews, starting with Muslims who live in the countries surrounding Israel, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, and Egypt, but also other countries as well. To go to the borders and to try to enter each by his own means, he said, this is the time for jihad to be applied on the ground rather than just in theory. He asked the Mujahideen to go in a long caravan to spill their blood on the land of Palestine. And the final words of the Marshall speech included, funds are important, but today we're asking for blood and souls to be sacrificed for Palestine, according to Brother Rashad. Pretty crazy stuff. And like I said, I don't want to believe it any more than you want to believe it. And I'm not on here spilling hate or fear. That's not what this is about. But the time to be aware of your surroundings. And I did a few videos a while back, several weeks ago, about situational awareness. If you want to go back and look at those, I point out a lot of good things in that. But the time to be vigilant is now. With stuff like this possibly taking effect Friday or even before then, or whether it's just all smoke and mirrors, who knows at this point. But the time to be vigilant is now. No matter where you're at, you need to be armed. You need to be vigilant on knowing your surroundings, being able to read people, attitudes and things. Luckily in the career field I'm in, reading people is just a part of an everyday thing, scanning their body, seeing if they have weapons on them and things like that. It's part of my job. So I know not everybody is as great at it, but you need to learn to be more aware of what's going on around you and the people around you and what they might be up to. And like I've said before, not a lot of people agree with this, we need to be helping each other out. I don't stay armed just to protect myself and my family. I stay armed to protect other Americans around me that might be in danger. And we all need to kind of take that attitude going forward. Now, with that being said, you can read people in your surroundings all you want as far as being personally attacked or somebody trying to shoot you or blow things up or whatever. But we need to realize here that there's many facets to this. There's many ways that these terrorists can go about things. It may not just be a personal attack. They might be blowing up infrastructure. They might be screwing up the supply chains. And we need to be prepared for all of that. So along with being vigilant in your surroundings and knowing what's going on and being armed all the time and willing to protect yourself and other people around you, we need to be ready for whatever. If they're going to attack infrastructure and maybe we don't have running water, maybe we don't have working electricity or gas, maybe the supply chain breaks and we can't make it to the store for the things we need. And I realize time is running out, and financially, money is a problem in a lot of people's spaces, but we need to try to work through that as best we can. I've been preparing for several years, and I know a lot of you probably haven't, and a lot of you probably have. But right now is the time to buckle down and make sure you can at least feed, clothe yourself, personal hygiene, have plenty of water around, a way to protect yourself, a way to protect your property, being able to shelter in place, honestly, because like I said, this may not just be a personal attack or mobs of people attacking people in the streets. This could be simply screwing up the supply chains or blowing up some type of infrastructure, a cell tower, whatever it may be. We need to be prepared for whatever that these terrorists might bring to the table. Now, on the other side of that, there was a speech Biden did where he said terror, 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 I don't know how many times. And we've seen this in the past, and I can't help but think this is to get people riled up. The only difference is when the 911 event happened, you know what I'm talking about. Whenever that happened, it was a little bit easier at the time to unite everybody against one common threat, the terror threat, right? Nowadays, people are a little bit more divided, so it's a little bit more complicated than that. I honestly think this is another way just to create more division. You start talking about terrorists, you start getting people on the left and on the far right, and all of a sudden everybody's at each other's throat. Nobody can agree on who the terrorists actually are. And I heard BLM now, and I think some groups from Harvard and different places are actually standing behind Palestine. People are just ignorant, and the more propaganda that rolls out, it's going to be coming thicker and thicker, this propaganda machine. There's going to be all sorts of angles. And depending on how you want to digest it, where you get your information, or what side of the fence you stand on, I only think this is going to create more and more division. I don't think we're all going to stand together like we did on that 911 event. Then everybody was Americans. Everybody was flying their American flags. Now you have people, I've seen videos of people where they're literally disgusted by people flying an American flag in their yard and say it's racist and everything else. So there's a lot of facets to this, a lot of division. I don't think it's going to be like it was, but we need to be prepared for these sleeper cells. We need to be prepared for whatever may come our way. There's going to be lots of false flags and crazy things going on throughout the world and even here in the United States. So we all have to remain calm and be vigilant and be aware of everything going on around us. Pay attention to the news, even if it's bad news. We need to be connected to everything in the media right now so we know what's going on around us and what other people might be thinking about. So that's all I got for today. God bless y'all, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Later.